Ladies and gentlemen, in life, we often think that greatness is measured by wealth, power, or fame. But the truth is, the greatest impact comes from the smallest acts of kindness. A smile, a kind word, a helping hand, these are the things that touch hearts and transform lives in ways we may never fully realize. Imagine a single mother struggling to make ends meet, and someone pays for her groceries. Picture a child who feels invisible, until a teacher tells them, "I believe in you." Or think of a stranger who holds the door, simply making you feel seen. These may look like small gestures, but to the one receiving them, they can mean the world. Humanity is not about grand speeches or monumental actions. It is about compassion in everyday life. When we choose kindness, we create ripples that spread far beyond what our eyes can see. One small act may inspire another, and that chain of goodness can change entire communities. So today, I ask each of you take a moment to be the reason someone smiles. Offer patience where there is anger, understanding where there is judgment, and love where there is pain. Because it's not the size of the act that matters. It's the heart behind it. Remember, the measure of a life well lived is not in what we keep, but in what we give. Small acts of humanity, my friends, are the seeds that grow into a world filled with hope, dignity, and love. When we think about kindness, our minds often go to big, extraordinary gestures, things like large donations, heroic rescues, or groundbreaking achievements in charity. While those are remarkable, the reality is that kindness in its purest form is often found in the small, seemingly ordinary acts we do every day. A smile to a stranger, a word of encouragement to someone feeling low, or even just listening when another person needs to be heard. These things may take only a few seconds of our time, but their effect can be long-lasting and profound. What may seem small to the giver can feel monumental to the receiver. That is the true power of small acts of kindness. Their impact is rarely equal to the effort it takes to perform them. Imagine a person walking down the street, carrying the invisible burden of stress, worry, or sadness. Simple gesture, someone holding the door open for them, or offering a genuine good morning, can shift their mood even if just a little. Shift matters because it reminds them that they are not invisible, that someone acknowledges their presence and worth. In a world where people often feel overlooked or undervalued, a small act can become a powerful affirmation of humanity. The beauty of it is that we often don't even realize when our actions have that effect. To us, it might feel routine, but to another, it could mean the difference between despair and hope. Think of the times in your own life when a stranger's kindness caught you by surprise. Perhaps someone let you go ahead of them in a long line when you were in a rush, or a colleague noticed you struggling and offered to help without being asked. Those moments linger because they carry a message: you matter, and you are not alone. Even when the gesture is tiny, it plants a seed of gratitude and warmth that can stay with us for days, sometimes even for a lifetime. And very often that seed grows into something larger, because kindness is contagious. When we are treated with compassion, we are more likely to pass it forward, starting a ripple effect that can touch countless lives. Small acts of kindness also break down barriers that often separate us. They remind us of our shared humanity. A compliment to a stranger, for instance, does not require wealth, education, or social status. It requires only the willingness to give. This simplicity is what makes kindness so powerful. Anyone, regardless of background or circumstance, has the ability to change someone's day through a small, thoughtful act. And because it is so accessible, the potential for impact is unlimited. Every single person has the power to lift someone else. And when that truth is embraced, it creates a society where kindness becomes the norm rather than the exception. What makes these small acts truly extraordinary is their unpredictability. We never really know who might need them the most. The person you hold the elevator for may have just faced rejection. The cashier you thank warmly may be working a double shift to support their family. The neighbor you check only battling loneliness. To them, your simple action may not just brighten their day, it may restore their faith in people. That is why no act of kindness is ever wasted, no matter how small. Humanity is not measured by how loud we speak or how grand our gestures are. It is measured by how we treat each other in the quiet, ordinary moments of life. The true essence of being human lies in the everyday interactions we have with those around us, our family, friends, co-workers, and even strangers we pass on the street. These daily encounters, though often overlooked, are the foundation of a compassionate and caring society. In our rush to chase big achievements or to make a significant mark, we sometimes forget that the greatest impact we can have is through the consistent practice of empathy, patience, and respect in our everyday lives. We tend to think of humanity in terms of big moments, rescuing someone in danger, donating large sums to charity, or creating sweeping social change. While these acts are undoubtedly important, they are not the only expressions of humanity. The small, routine actions that show concern for others are equally vital. Holding the elevator for someone, letting another driver merge into your lane, offering a genuine smile to a passerby. These are simple acts that reflect an underlying attitude of kindness. They may not make headlines, but they make a difference. They create a culture where people feel safe, respected, and valued. Consider how a gentle word spoken in a moment of tension can ease someone's burden. Truly listening to someone's worries can help them feel understood. These are not dramatic acts, but they are deeply human ones. They require us to slow down, to be present, and to care. It is in these small choices that the character of a community is revealed. When people consistently choose to treat each other with dignity and compassion, society as a whole becomes stronger and more resilient. Moreover, it is often in the ordinary settings, homes, offices, schools, neighborhoods, where our capacity for humanity is tested the most. These are the places where patience is required, where conflicts can arise, and where we have daily opportunities to practice forgiveness, understanding, and cooperation. It is easy to speak of kindness in theory, but it is in these familiar environments that we must live it out. When we choose to respond with grace instead of anger, or with support instead of criticism, we are embodying the very core of what it means to be humane. Even the smallest gestures of kindness can have far-reaching effects. A teacher who takes the time to encourage a struggling student may inspire a lifetime of confidence. Co-worker who offers help without being asked can ease someone's stress and foster a sense of teamwork. These acts do not require great effort or sacrifice, but they reflect a deep sense of shared humanity. They show that we see each other not just as roles, students, employees, customers, but as people with feelings and dreams. It is through these daily expressions of care and respect that we truly build a more compassionate world. Compassion has a unique quality. It does not stop with the person who receives it. When we act with kindness, we are not just helping someone in the moment. We are planting a seed that often continues to grow, inspiring others to do the same. This ripple effect is one of the most beautiful aspects of humanity. A single gesture, no matter how small, can extend far beyond its original intention, touching lives we may never even know about. One act of compassion can spark another, and then another, creating a chain of goodness that spreads wider than we can imagine. Picture a simple act like paying for someone's coffee in line. The recipient may be so moved by that unexpected kindness that they choose to help someone else later that day. Perhaps they offer words of encouragement to a friend who is struggling, or they volunteer their time to support a cause. That person, in turn, might pass the kindness forward again. None of these actions would have happened without the first gesture. This is how compassion grows, not in isolated moments, through continuous waves of influence that move from person to person, often without end. The ripple effect also works because kindness changes the way people feel about themselves and the world. When someone receives compassion, it reinforces their belief that goodness exists. That belief can inspire hope in times when they might have felt hopeless. Hope is powerful. It motivates people to rise above their struggles, and in doing so, they often choose to lift others as well. In this way, compassion is not just about easing an immediate burden. It is about strengthening the spirit of humanity itself. Even in difficult environments where negativity or indifference seems to dominate, a single compassionate act can shift the atmosphere. For example, in a workplace filled with stress, one person showing patience and understanding can change the tone of the entire team. Others may notice, feel inspired, Follow that example. Slowly the culture changes. What started as a single choice to be kind becomes a shared habit, transforming relationships and creating unity where there was once division. The same can happen in schools, neighborhoods, or even families. Compassion has the power to set the standard for how people treat one another. The remarkable thing is that we often never see the full outcome of our kindness. We may smile at a stranger and never know that our gesture lifted them from a dark place. We may encourage someone briefly and never realize that our words gave them the strength to keep pursuing their goals. But whether or not we witness it, the effect is real. Compassion rarely ends with the first person. It moves forward, invisible but powerful, weaving through lives and situations we may never encounter. That is why choosing kindness, even its smallest form, matters so deeply. It does not just change one moment. It has the power to change countless others. Kindness has an extraordinary ability to restore something far greater than what is visible on the surface. When people are treated with compassion, it does more than ease their immediate struggles. It restores their sense of dignity and renews their hope. In a world where many individuals feel unseen, judged, or forgotten, even the smallest act of kindness can remind them that they matter. To feel valued is a universal human need. Kindness answers that need in a way nothing else can. It reassures people that despite their difficulties, there is goodness around them, and they are worthy of receiving it. Consider someone who is facing hardship, whether financial, emotional, or personal. In such times, people often begin to lose faith, not only in others but also in themselves. A kind gesture, no matter how small, can interrupt that cycle of despair. Imagine a person struggling to pay their bills, and a stranger offers a little help, or even just words of encouragement. That single act does not erase all their challenges, but it reminds them that they are not alone in their struggle. The dignity that comes from being recognized, respected, and supported is powerful enough to reignite a sense of hope within them. Restoring dignity is about more than just physical help. It is about the emotional and spiritual lift that kindness brings. A gentle smile, a word of understanding, or the patience to listen without judgment all carry the message: you are worthy of respect. You matter. When someone who feels invisible is suddenly seen and valued, their confidence begins to return. They are reminded that their worth is not tied to their struggles or failures, but to their humanity. That shift in perspective can be life-changing, giving them the courage to face challenges with renewed strength. Hope, too, is nurtured through kindness. When people experience compassion, they are reminded that goodness still exists in the world. This realization can be enough to help them move forward, even in the darkest times. Small act may not solve every problem, but it can provide the spark of hope someone needs to keep trying. It can be as simple as offering food to someone who is hungry or encouragement to someone who feels like giving up. That hope may inspire them to make better choices, to keep working toward their goals, or to pass kindness along to others in need. Kindness has a ripple effect because when people have their dignity restored, they often find the strength to help others. A person who has received compassion may go on to show compassion, continuing the cycle of hope and dignity for someone else. This is why kindness is never wasted. Its impact goes far beyond the moment. The restoration of dignity and hope is not just about easing pain. It is about helping people believe in themselves and in the possibility of a better tomorrow. That belief, once ignited, can carry them further than we might ever imagine. A meaningful life is not measured by the wealth we accumulate, the possessions we gather, or the accolades we receive. It is measured by the love, kindness, and humanity we share with others. The things we keep for ourselves may bring temporary comfort, but the things we give away, our time, our compassion, our understanding, are what create a legacy that lasts long after we are gone. What we hold tightly fades with time, but what we give freely continues to live on in the lives we touch. When people look back on their lives, the moments they cherish most are rarely tied to material gains. Instead, they remember the times they helped a friend through hardship, comforted someone who was grieving, or gave without expecting anything in return. These are the memories that warm the heart, because they are rooted in connection and purpose. True fulfillment comes from knowing that our presence made a difference. Someone's burden was lighter because we chose to give. Giving does not always mean financial generosity. It can be as simple as offering our patience when someone makes a mistake, sharing encouragement when someone feels defeated, or giving our time to listen when another person needs to be heard. These acts may seem small in the moment, but they carry immeasurable weight. They remind others that they are not alone, that someone cares enough to notice and respond. And in giving these things, we ourselves are enriched, because there is no greater satisfaction than knowing our lives have been used for something meaningful. The beauty of giving is that it multiplies. When we give kindness, it often inspires others to do the same. A word of encouragement can ripple outward, affecting not just the person who receives it, but everyone they later encounter. The act of giving becomes a chain of goodness that extends far beyond the original moment. What starts with one gesture can turn into countless others, touching people and places we may never know. This is how humanity is strengthened, through countless small acts of giving that together form a web of compassion holding communities together. Keeping for ourselves may bring short-term satisfaction, but it is giving that builds lasting impact. Wealth, possessions, and status eventually fade. The way we made others feel remains in their hearts forever. People may forget the words we spoke, or the things we owned, but they will never forget the kindness we showed or the love we gave. In this way, giving is not only a gift to others, it is a gift to ourselves, because it allows us to live a life of purpose. The measure of a meaningful life is not found in what we hoard, but in the joy, dignity, and hope we pass on to others. It is through giving that our lives gain depth, significance, and the kind of beauty that endures beyond our own time. So let us remember, it's not the size of our actions, but the heart behind them that makes the world brighter. Together, through small acts of humanity, we can create a future filled with hope and compassion. Thank you for listening, and may kindness guide your every step.